नमस्ते मित्रों, आर्ट टीवी में सभी का स्वागत है. A warm welcome to Art TV. Today we have with us Sheshagiri K M, one of the brilliant artists who's based in Bangalore, who has a very myriad, a huge platter of visual art presentation. Like he's excellent in drawing, painting, sculptures, consultancy, digital animation training. So let us know more about his thought process, his ideas, his concepts, and what he has to say about art and his experiences. A warm welcome, Sheshagiri ji.
Thank you,
A
sir.
warm
Thank you
welcome
so
to
much.
Art TV.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
It's always a great pleasure talking to you, Sheshagiri.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I
Same
have
with us.
known you for quite some time, and when I see your art, when I see there is one very important distinct feature or distinct thing about your art which always draws my curiosity or draws my attention, is that you have done you have your paintings are excellent presentation of the Hindu spiritual gods, goddesses, or the stories, the spiritual stories. And one distinct thing what I observe is that your visual presentation about the entire spiritual concept is quite different. I find it is in depth. It has a lot of information that are in the scriptures and all. And I would like to know. So in this interview, maybe I would love to know more about your in-depth research and what you plan to do and how you present. And that is the most curiosity which I have for your work. No?
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, but before I get into the details of your artworks, I would like to know, we all would love to know your path travel. How did you get into this field of art? What inspired you? And how did you get into such a wide, what do you say, such a wide angle of art? Because usually artists I've seen, it's like painting, sculptures, maybe something, but you have a huge. So how did you begin with this, and how did you reach to where what you are today?
Sure, sir. My initial art journey started when I was 5 or 6 years old. I used to stay in Davangere. There was a cotton mill in Davangere which used to every year they used to release a calendar. So those calendars were based on some mythological stories or something like that. So every year on our wall we used to see those illustrated calendars on our in our home. Also, my interest was to replicate those illustrated drawings in my very early school days. So my father used to get many calendars for me every year from at the time many companies or even fertilizer and company, many companies used to bring lot of gods calendars, lot of illustrated calendars at the time. So my house was full of calendars, especially in my room. So that was my initial inspiration to start with, and from where I started recreating those images, and then I started my own. So by 10th, or when I was in class 10, I was very good at drawing, and because of that, I was participated. I was asked to participate in many of the science fairs and many other things where my drawings got appreciated because of the very good illustrations which was presented in different science fairs, and especially in science fair also. One of the science fair, my school where I was studying, and it got state level first prize award because of those illustrations. So that inspired me a lot. And later when I was in PU, one of the exhibition was happening in Rotary Club in Davangere. At the time, Dr. Shivram Karanth was the guest of that particular event. he saw my illustrations, and there were 4 or 5 artists who had presented their artworks in that particular event. When he saw my works, he thought I was from art college. So he called me and asked me whether I'm a student of art college, and I said, I'm still studying PU. I'm planning to go to engineering. So he said, engineering, there are hundreds of thousands of engineers are there in our country. We don't need many engineers. If you have a passion for art, go for art. He was the one who inspired me to
Get into art.
get into art in the early stages. And also there are a few more people whom I want to remember. They are also my very good inspirations. My mother's brother, younger brother, was also an artist, and he's still an artist, but he used to study in the same college where I studied. He was the student of first batch of my college. And he used to learn under the famous artist, Mysore Palace artist. I forgot his name. He used to get him to our house many times. Because whenever he used to travel along with him to Davangere or something, so he used to get that artist. So it was very inspiring for me to see those artists work at that time. It was really wonderful for me to his name was Raju. It's sorry,
but he is an artist from Mysore Palace, basically.
Yeah, but he was also the founder of Chitrkala Parishad. I forgot his name.
Oh, okay.
So he was the he was also the teacher for our art college in Davangere. For the first batch and second batch, he used to be the teacher. So he used to get it was in 1981 or 82 or 83 at that time. So whenever he used to visit, my uncle used to visit Davangere, he used to get him to our house. So
are you talking about Subramaniam Raju?
Yes.
Why Subramaniam? Yeah.
I forgot his name. Yes.
Yeah. He was one of the founder members of Chitrkala Parishad, Bangalore.
Correct.
Yeah.
He stayed in our house for 2-3 days. So he also had encouraged me. He showed 2-3 drawings. He did on a small piece of paper, and he asked me to replicate the same. And that was a very good learning for me. I didn't know that he was such a great artist at that time. So later, when time went on, I learned about him. It was such a great thing to learn under him at that point of time.
So this was in your school days. You mean to say when you were 10th or something like?
No, it was even before that. I was just 5th or 6th at that time.
Oh, okay.
So
your art began there, and then you joined the art college of Davangere.
Yeah, no. Basically, I wanted to do my graduation in engineering, but during 1991, because of this Mandal Commission, there was a huge hangama in India, and also due to Ram Janmabhoomi issues, the entire Davangere was almost locked down for more than 3 or 4 months. So my second year, I could not go to just many of us in that batch could not attend the college for more than 3-4 months. So I could not score the way it was expected for engineering for merit seat. So then I decided to go with art, and also Shivram Karans was inspiration for me, and so that's the reason. That's how it began.
And then you started with your art journey and all.
Then my art journey started in art college. There, I had very good teachers. Especially, I should remember Hiregoda, Shankar Patil. Shankar Patil is from JJ School of Art, and he was such a great inspiration for me. Whenever I used to visit any galleries or any shows or something like that, people, if I say I'm from Davangere College. People used to ask me, how is Shankar Patil? That was the first thing, people used to ask about our college. So he had a very good contact all over India. So he had sent me many times to JJ and Nagpur, etc. So he had very good contact. Some of the Bollywood stars were his classmates. So so he had a very good reputation. And also now in this era, we can see all the images or whatever we need to learn about it. We can search from Google and we can get those images. But in 1991-92, it was not so easy to get to see the original works of Monet or Salvador Dali. We had a library, but it was not good amount of pictures were not available. But at that same time, Shankar Patil, at that time, he had a projector and also he had positives. At that time, people used to present it from positives. He had more than 500 slides at that time. So he used to project in his home for us, especially, it was his private collection. For people who used to interact with him closely, he used to take him to his workshop and he used to show those slideshows. That was really wonderful, and it helped us a lot. So under his guidance, I got to know about many artists and also different sorts of artworks. And he himself had more than 30 or 40 painting collections in his home, made by different artists. So that was also a very good inspiration for me at that time.
So your foundation was like, the first blessing from Dr. Shivram Karant, then Shankar Patil, and coming down to
and also yeah.
So all these, they molded you. So today what you are like, the foundation goes back to these big stalwarts. I understand that now when I see your work, I come to know, or I understand from where the depth is coming from. Okay. Now,
also at the time, I had different opportunities to participate in many art melas, especially a national art exhibition which happened in 1994 in Ravindra Kalakshetra. It was a huge art fair in India. So more than 500 stalls were there, and almost 2 to 3,000 artists were there, and the exhibition was huge. So I was the caretaker of my stall, and for 2 stalls I was the caretaker from the Davangere College of Art. So at that time I used to do portraits of people, and at the same time Shankar Patil and Hiregaud used to take me to different stalls, and they used to discuss about the works, different artists' work at that time. So it was really a very good opportunity. But right now, after that 1994 event, Bangalore had never seen that such a huge art event in Bangalore. So that was one of the best moment. And at the same time, even I won 2-3 awards from Lalith Kala Academy. One of my art work was selected for Lalith Kala Academy show, and also Mysore Dasra award also I got when I was in 3rd year. So these experiments and exhibitions, all these things helped me a lot at the time.
Excellent. But today when I see the entire spectrum of your work, or your the visual presentation, now I have to put it into categories. For example, first category can be your paintings. Second one, if I see your sculptures or your plannings and designing consultancy for sculptures, digital art, your training sessions, your animation. I think you you have done. You have directed some films also, which is
animated films.
Animated films. But if I see all your works, the foundation, the theme is spiritual, is what you call Adhyatma. I beg to differ, or the word mythology is something which I'm not convinced, because I don't think so. Our Indian entire scripture is something called as mythology. It's not a myth. It's not a kalpanik. It's not kalpanik. It is something which is very much scientific. And so, So I would prefer using the word Adhyatma. And the scriptures, the writings, the ideas, the concepts, the themes there, the messages there. Now, these things have been your base philosophy in all your entire aspects. Now, one way, if I see, you graduated out as an art student. Now, how did this Adhyatma enter into this? Now, how did this Adhyatma and art get married? When did that happen?
From the very early age, I guess, during my college days also, lot of people used to come to me to for some pictures of some gods or etc. So when I started doing those things, I used to question myself, why this particular ayudha or weapon is required, why this particular stylization of hand is required, why, I used to start question with why on each and every component in the design. So for those questions to find answer, I used to start reading many books, especially Tantragama books, and also Brahmi Chitrakarma Shastra, which is written by Dr. G. Gnanananda, and many others. Many books have inspired me at that time. Even when I kept on searching about these things, I found a lot of informative details in, especially in Valmiki Ramayana, Mahabharata, and many other places, where they have depicted the entire the story in such a way that it is very much suitable for an illustration, or sometimes only illustration can be able to represent that particular event, or that particular expression of what they are trying to express in many words. So when I started doing such illustrations and detailed works, one by one I got to know about different things. And once I got into the specific details of Tantra Shastra, where there are a lot of Tantra Shastra texts available in India. Especially, Vaishnava Panth has different type of scriptures, and Shaivagama. So there are different types of tantras, but all of them have a common platform of pramana and mana paddhati, which is a measurement. So they have dashatala mana, navatala, ashtatala, and they have a different prescription for different types of gods. At the same time, even for temple architecture, they have clearly defined how the temple has to be created, and how the deity should be. And if I see the gopuram of that particular temple, I should be able to know what is the size of that Mula Murti, which is residing in the Garbhagriha. So it's a pure science. So if you go to any old temple which is more than 300 or 400 years old, if you just see the gopuram, and if it is constructed properly, you can be able to say exactly the size of the murti, and by seeing the pillar, that what we call it as Garuda Gamba. So you can be able to say where exactly the Garbhagraham is positioned. So everything is scientific, and everything what earlier they had defined has a meaning, and it is completely described in many of the Tantra Shastras, and even Shilpa Shastras. So even in Shilpa Shastra, they for drawings, especially for 2D drawings, they have a detailed description on how the pramana and mana has to be. Mana means the proportions. So if we go through that, the kind of forms what we get is really beautiful. Especially many of those illustrated sculptures can be seen in many temples, even in south, especially Tamil Nadu, even in Belur Halabid. But they have stylized on their own thinking, and especially Chola architecture, Hoysala. All they have added their own stylization, as an added flavor to that particular text, but still it carries the same mana, or the measurement. So the measurement will be the same, but they have added their own creativity into that. But it's wonderful, to see the way how they have depicted the whatever is described in the text into their visualization. So if we start learning those things, I got to know about more detailed information on that, and which is, it thrilled me, like why we are missing, and especially our art schools are not teaching all these things. If I go to any art college in India, they have a subject on Indian art, but it is just limited to history. We just read it, but nobody is teaching properly about Indian art. Some art,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. What you pointed out is very right, very right. So from your this thing, I understand that it all began with the initial drawings of gods and goddesses, from where the interest developed as to why and how the proportions, measurements are, what are the different forms, what are the different ayudas and all. And later on, as you went on conducting your research, you found out so many elements about the Shastras and the mention of various elements. And what you said is very true. I think the Indian art school, I mean the art school in India, uh, uh, the mention about the details, about the very calculations and scientific details of art is missing. Why do you think so is missing that? Why do you think it's only what do you say, limited to art history or discussions, but when it comes to working, see, one of the things that I've observed is right now it's all about making what it sells so abstraction and figurative, just like all sale market oriented, all gallery oriented, it's going on. It's
yeah,
been like, I think so, from 2000 onwards, if I see the entire art, it took a very I don't know, it was a very wild turn, and it's going on in a way. Because if I see the artist's work, like people whom you mentioned, like Shankar Patil, if you see the old people, if you see Khande Rao, if you see M.N. Patil in Karnataka and all, that the people, the artists who came at that category, like each one of them had their own skill set and their own concepts and all, which later now you see it's like it's going in a I don't know, it's a very uncontrolled, in a very vague direction, like
yeah,
it's very. But coming back to you, I think so this is the interesting aspect in your art. For example, I'll give it a very specific example. Like in one of the online shows about Gayatri, like it was so interesting and fascinating to see your artwork, because most of the artists or other artists who did it was very much pictorial or very much surfacial, I would say. Like go to the internet, get the things, get an image, do it, represent or recreate it in their own way. But you went down to the back to the scriptures, found out a particular verse, found out particular few lines, a theme on that, understood that shloka, understood that concept, visually converted it. Now, I would like you to tell me something about this, because you have spoken many things about this. For example, even when I was speaking about Krishna or Rama or Parshurama or something. Now you have like, okay, in this scripture, in this particular book, in this scripture, this particular concept was there, this particular story was there, and this verse described this way. Now taking that thing, that concept, you visually convert that, transform that literature into visual. Can you just throw some light on that? Because I think that is something missing element in our Indian art.
yeah, sure. First of all, when I say it is mathematical expression of art, people say that art is not a mathematics, and they say that if it is not required, when we can do a freehand drawing or freehand illustrations, these mathematical notations are not required for an art. But it is not a mathematical, it is purely a devotional or a divine value add, if you think, go through those textual details. So that gives enhancement to your art. It is not a mathematics. So that I want to clear at this point. And coming back to Gayatri, see, especially in Narasimha Puran, so there is one shloka called Dheyasada Savitramandala Madhyavarti Narayanaha Sarasijasana Sannivishtaha Keyuravan Makarakundalavan Kiriti Hari Hiranmayopuhu Dhritashanka Chakraha. This is the description of Gayatri what they have given in Narasimha Purana. So the same description is it is not taken by few people. All over India, I can see that the same description for Gayatri has taken centuries ago. Even I can see such sculptures in Bihar, in Rajasthan, especially in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. I can see more than 15 to 20 different temples where they have already depicted more than 5-6 centuries or more than 9 centuries ago. But people, there are different types of Gayatri where there is also a representation of Gayatri as a female. People think that when I say Gayatri, it's a word for Strilinga. It is just a feminine character. But an entire Gayatri mantra is in Pullinga. So it is Dhiyaha, Yaha, Naha, Prachodayat. Yaha is Pullinga. So the Gayatri mantra itself is praising the God who is residing in Surya Mandala or in sun. So when Gayatri mantra itself is saying in Pulling or man as a
masculine one,
masculine character, so why should I go with female characterization? So that's the reason I went into that shloka and started designing in that way. So that's what, and it has a very good, beautiful meaning also, and also it has a Padmasana definition as Sarasijasana Sannivishtaha. If you see the Yoga Shastra, there is a definition on Sarasijasana, which means Padmasana, how the Padmasana has to be. So Padmasana is not just an asana where I can sit with two legs, one on top of the other, and just like an X shape. It is not just a Padmasana. Padmasana means he should be seeing his nose and his eyes should be closed, almost closed, and his both his hands should be on his lap, and one of his right hand should have this Gnana Mudra. So, and then he should be meditating by looking at his the corner of his nose. So then it is called as Shuddha Padmasana. Otherwise, just sitting like in X shape is not just a Padmasana. So all that is defined, clearly in one or in 2 words. They have mentioned all this information in a crisp manner. So those kind of details should have been taken to our next generation to show what is the thought of Gayatri which earlier we had, and how even the temples are people used to devote that particular form in temples. I can show those illustrated sculptures even right now. It is there in Halasi. It's in the heart of Karnataka. It is just 60 kilometers away from Dharwad, and even in Hagari Bomanalli it is there. Even in Jamkhandi it is there. Especially in Somnathpur, we have 2-3 sculptures like that. And also, especially in Bihar, there is one temple where there is a huge sculpture like that. So all over India, we can be able to see that. Even in Konark, one part, in a small corner, we can see that particular god, because it's for a sun god. So we can still see that particular form. So people were aware of this particular shloka from Narasimha Puran, and people from different cult and sects also used to meditate based on these kind of illustrated forms from different scriptures. So that is what missing now. So the current generation of artists doesn't know what is prescribed or what was defined in many of the ancient scriptures. But right now we do just, for example, Ganesh. We do many types of Ganeshas. Ganesh can be police Ganesha, or Ganesh can be many. It is like a Bollywood actor. We do anything. It is just a rather than
visual gimmick, like more sort of rather than a real.
Yeah, and also it is not a respect for Ganesha. It is de-respecting the god. So if you want to respect whatever has been prescribed in a particular way, or Ganesha puja or vidhi or whatever, we should meditate like that. Otherwise, we are wasting our time, and we are just de-respecting the God.
Yeah. Now, about this Ganesha, what you mentioned, because even
Yeah,
last time also I remember you telling me that uh, all the human anatomy which is mentioned in the Shastras, it has a particular way. Like, for example, a Ganesha should be in this way, one Vishnu
yeah,
or Krishna should be in this way, the height, body, and everything should be, the posture, gesture should be this way. And
yeah.
all these things are very specifically, clearly mentioned in the Shastras.
Correct.
And I understand that you also have your digital platform where you have been training students, especially
Yes.
something which is called as, this is our indigenous Indian art, something
Yeah.
which is mentioned in the scriptures and which you are trying to transfer this to the next generation, to the next artisan. Now I have two questions here. One, could you just highlight something about this example of Ganesha, like how Ganesha is? Because today, when I see Ganesha happening around,
Yeah.
it's like uh, it looks decorative piece. It looks a beautiful, colorful piece. Some are totally gimmick. I understand that it's really out of thing. But somewhere I see. But when I see the old sculptures, when I see the old this thing and all, I find there's a huge gap with what's happening now and what was there like.
Yeah.
Okay. So your training sessions is trying to bridge that gap.
Correct.
So two questions. One is example of this Ganesha. Can you just elaborate a bit by saying how Ganesha should be, like what is mentioned in the scriptures and how it should be? One. And second one is about your training sessions, also what you have been doing.
Okay. So these scriptures define whether it can be Ganesha or whichever gods. They scripture, they define it because it is for your meditation. It is not just a definition for a builder's idol or for worship in a temple. It is for your meditation. So why meditation is required? So when you are meditating a particular god, they have given you the description of how to meditate, because even you can say Nirakara, Nirguna, or whatever, it has a limited or certain meaning. Akara, Nirakara means he can take any akara, that's why he is called as Nirakara. And Nirguna means he doesn't have any bad qualities. So he is having a pure Sadgunas as a he is a treasure of Sadguna. That's why he is called as Nirguna. So when we think of qualities, and when we try to meditate a particular god, there should be a forum in our meditative, in front of our eyes. There should be something. So for that, we cannot think of visual which is having just a creative, like Ganesha in a different formats where he is presented in abstract formats. When you are properly, when your meditation has to be 100%, and when you want to get result out of it, you have to meditate it in a prescribed manner. So for a meditation, this particular forum is very much required, where how they have defined, and because of that such kind of meditation, you can be able to see the results. So to help your meditations, people started creating those visuals in terms of stones, sometimes in terms of wall paintings in the early part of centuries. So they started describing those details, whatever you need to meditate, in form of in 3D or 2D, either in stone or in metal, or in form of 2D on wall paintings. So that's why for my own meditation, that is very much required. So when I want to meditate about any god, so I need to think about, if I want to think about him, I need to know about him. How I need to know about him? I need to know about his qualities. I need to his or her qualities. I need to know about details about her avatar, or whatever details are. And also, when I open my all chakras in my meditation, where he or she should be residing in my particular body, and what she is doing inside my body, all those things are very much required for a person who is meditating. So that is
Mm-hmm.
yoga. So for that, this particular art form will be very much helpful, if we do it in a proper way, and if we do in a prescribed manner. So for that, right now there is no, not many people are helping with that illustrative.
There's no awareness of that.
Yeah, there is no awareness also. So that's the reason I'm trying to build that gap in my own capacity, whatever is possible. Almost more than 4,000 students have joined that particular forum, and only 4 to 500 are active currently. But
Mm.
those people are trying to replicate the same whatever I teach, and they are, and within 1 year I can see a lot of good results in that forum as well. Similarly, I used to teach a lot of people before lockdown also in my capacity in my home. So
Mm.
I have trained more than 50, 60 art students, where they are also they have started going through these kind of details in prescribed in different sculptures, scriptures. Basically, my teachings will be in Kannada, but
Mm.
however, still people are getting more information, and they are also they have also started with coming up with good uh, illustrations, or their imaginative design for that particular definition.
Excellent, excellent. That's quite interesting. Your paintings, your temples, you have discussed. Your digital class, you have discussed. There's another interesting thing, because I'm from Udupi, you know that. And whenever I have visited Kunjargiri, when I see that huge sculpture of that Madhvacharya, that stone one, and for that huge sculpture, you have provided all the design and consultancy, I believe.
Yeah,
Give them all the ideas and inputs. How could you do that, such a big project? Because I believe that it is one single stone,
correct, correct.
and it is so tall. How did you carry that stone, the design, the format, and and today when it is standing so tall, and that Kunjargiri, it's so awesome. Could you just tell us something about that experience of that sculpture and what sculptures you have been doing?
Yeah, in 2007, Swamiji of Udupi Mat, Palimar Swamiji, he
Mm,
had a vision to create three sculptures in 32 feet. So he started with Hanuman sculpture in Haridwar. At that time, I had given my drawings and my details. I could not go to Haridwar at the time for installations,
mm,
but that those drawings really helped those team who are working on that particular project at the time. So they took my help in the detailed designing. It was done under the guidance of Ashok Gudigar at the time. So
mm,
then later, Swamiji thought of making a sculpture of Madhvacharya in 32 feet, again in Kunjargiri. So he asked me to take up this project, and he asked me to, from zero to till installation, he wanted me to take the charge of it as a caretaker. So I traveled almost, I visited more than 15, 16 places for the right kind of stone.
mm,
Uh, Fortunately, at the time, S.R. Rao, who invented Dwarka in the sea,
mm,
inside the sea, he was alive at the time. I knew him because of he is a distant relative for me as well. So
mm,
with his help, I could be able to get the stone samples, and I had sent that to Hyderabad for verification. Because Udupi is a region where there will be a lot of rains, and also the during the summer the heat will be more, and
yeah,
also the wind which comes from the sea, it will carry sort of salt in it.
yeah.
So that salt can etch the stone in the over the period of time. So all that I had to take care of. So that's the reason
Mm,
we sent it for some Hyderabad lab, and once the lab has given the approval for the particular stone, we got the stone from Dodbalapur in Karnataka. So it
mm,
was almost 44 feet stone, and it was more than 135 tons, and it was very difficult for us to carry till
How did
Udupi.
you transport that?
We fortunately we got one good transport system where we had it had 143 wheels,
That
and
big trailer, like.
yeah, and to just to put, lift that stone and to put it on that vehicle, it took almost 3.5 months for us. It was such a huge exercise for us, because taking out the stone was very difficult. And
Mm.
then even the rains were heavy at the time, so somehow after 3 months we could be able, we were able to place that on the
Trailer.
transport. Yeah. And then we took through Karwar, we took it through Hubli, and then we came in coastal area. So
Mm.
the carving started in Udupi. I used to visit Udupi every weekend. And right now I am working for TCS, so during the weekdays in IT company I don't get so many such time or leave. I won't get it.
Mm.
So every weekend I used to travel to Udupi from 2013 to 2017. Almost every weekend I have visited Udupi more than 200 times almost, I guess.
Mm.
So I used to sit with sculptors, and I used to give them the exact proportions what is defined. So now coming back to the proportions, there is a book called Tantrasara Sangraha,
Mm.
written by Madhvacharya himself.
Mm.
In the third chapter, he has defined in 37 shlokas, he has defined clearly about how to make a sculpture, especially the sculpture of Vishnu, or who are the god deity, in
Mm.
a Dashatalamana proportions. So
Mm.
using the same proportion, we created a sculpture of Madhvacharya. So the scripture, the details what he has given is beautiful. The same details are also available in many other texts as well, but here his contribution is wherever we get confusion, or wherever people have deviated the detailings in other scriptures, he has
Mm.
clarified everything, and he has given a particular the way to go. So that was the way, that is a very good guideline for a sculptor who wants to do it in Dashatalamana. So it was, using that proportions, I created my drawings, and we converted that drawing into 3D format, and then we also created a small miniature sculpture also in POP, and also in fiber. And then
Mm.
using those proportions, we started looking at that, transferring that into 32 feet monolithic sculpture. So it was a very good exercise, and it is not very easy to imagine. 9 feet or 10 feet, 9 feet height face, and sitting on top of it, just working on the eyes or nose. It is almost like
True.
my almost hand size. I don't know whether how it will look after, if I see that from 100 feet.
True.
So
True.
yeah, for that, if I go just with proportions, if my calculations and my following method is correct, it will look perfect. Even if I see it from 100 feet or 2000 feet, it will be perfect.
But it's a beautiful sculpture. Beautiful. I would reckon that anyone who visits Udupi should go to Kunjargiri and see that sculpture.
Thank
Wow.
you so much. And
So,
also, there is a video we have made for that particular event. It's in Canada basically, but people who want to see that how it was installed and everything, there is a video available in YouTube called Apratima Santa. Apratima Santa. If you just search Apratima Santa, it is available. People
mhm.
can look into that.
Excellent. Excellent. Drawing, painting, temple architecture, sculptures. Your next aspect is about you have directed films, especially in animation. And again, here the subjects are quite spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you just tell us something about this?
Yeah, when I joined after my college, when I joined advertising agency, my inside aspiration, or the burning ambition, was to to become an illustrator or an art, to be in an art field. So even I was an illustrator in a advertising agency for 3 or 4 months, but my the burning ambition was something different. Even my in college days, I used to see a lot of Chandranatha Acharya's work and many other artists' work, even in Illustrated Weekly of India. Those illustrations used to inspire me a lot. So I wanted to be an illustrator when I was in college. My ambition was to become an illustrator. So when I came to Bangalore, when I met Gujar, who is a very good cartoonist in Karnataka, and he is well known in India. So he was working for Kirloskar Multimedia, and he was into animations. So I met him and I asked him about if there are any opportunities. He organized for me, interview, and they liked my works, and I got the entry into animation field. So in Kirloskar Multimedia, they used to work on different edutainment series for CD-ROMs. They used to make small animated stories for small kids. Fortunately, I was asked to move to a project on Mahabharat. So they had a work on a story on Mahabharat, and I was asked to work on that particular storyline for storyboarding and also drawings. People liked my style of drawings, especially the kind of illustration for Mahabharat, what I used to do. It was liked by them. Especially, I had a background of this drawing gods and goddesses. So it clicked in Kirloskar Multimedia. Later, when I joined Phoenix Multimedia as a team lead for animation group, there also I started converting Amar Chitrakatha animated stories into the animated films. So one of our first animated story was released by the Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee in 1996 at that time, 1997, sorry. He saw our movies, and he was quite impressed with the kind of children's stories, converting that into animated movies. So so when that CD became very popular, and then one people from California connected with us. They were from Tamil Nadu, and they wanted to make a movie on Saint Tyagaraja. So they contacted us, and the project was given to another person, but for research and for the detailing of characters, the company asked me to take care of those things. So I had to visit the places where Tyagaraja visited and where he lived in Tiruvayar and Tiruvarur and many other places. So again, I had to stay in Tanjore temple. So it was inspiring for me to learn about Tanjore temple architecture and all those things. And when I started doing the detailing of life and teachings of Tyagaraja, I was impressed by the landscape of Tiruvarur and Tanjore, and I did a landscape on the spot, and I used to do the drawings as per the old situation, how it should have been looked in those particular areas. So that helped me a lot in creating visual stories. And later, once that project was completed, I was asked to take up a project on Madhvacharya, an animated movie. So G.V. Iyer, who had already made a film on Madhvacharya and Shankaracharya and many other movies, he is one of the
eminent directors.
Yeah, he is one of the star for us. So he's I through Bananje Govindacharya, I was in connection with him, and Bananje Govindacharya had introduced me to G.V. Iyer. And G.V. Iyer saw my works, especially my storyboards, and especially when I used to do animation film on Madhvacharya. I went for his guidance, but he said, you are doing the best whatever is possible through your technology. So don't get inspired or take something from others. Try to bring your own, whatever the creative items are. then it will be pure expression of your own. So I can able to see that coming it out of from you, but at this moment I will not give you any ideas. It should be your own and original. So that
Mhm.
inspired me a lot. And once the film was completed, he was so happy, and he blessed me a lot with all his inputs or
Excellent.
so. And in that way, I directed two movies, and even in all both the movies, I have worked as a animator, designer, and also as a director. One thing I should add to this is especially our ex-president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
Mm.
He had liked a particular song in Tyagaraja animated film. It is
Mm.
called Dorakanaid Vanti Seva. So that it was animated. It was some director in there was an exhibition in Bangalore where we had presented that particular entire CD film.
Mm.
Direct, I've forgotten. He's from IIT or something. That person had seen this work, and he had asked me to give him a CD. He had shown that particular CD to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Abdul
Mm.
Kalam had liked that particular song, and once I got call from Dr. Abdul Kalam when
Well,
yeah,
lovely. Okay.
asking, he said that the way we have visualized it and way we have shown that in particular song, it is fantastic. And because he was a veena player, he used to play veena.
Yeah. Yeah.
He knew Carnatic music also.
Yeah.
His favorite song was Endaro Mahanubavalu from Tyagaraja. So he liked that Tyagaraja movie very much, and he congratulated us also. In way back in 2000, it was very good thing to
So
remember.
throughout your journey, if I see you right from your childhood, it is Dr. Shivram Karan, then it is like Subramanya Raju, then it is like Shankar Patil, then it is GB Iyer, Bananja Govindacharya, then Abdul Kalam, Vajpayee. You really have in your journey, you have a lot of beautiful people who have really blessed you, and
By God's grace, especially
absolutely
especially Pejar Swamiji, who was there, and I got an
that
opportunity to be
that
with him
all
many
the
times.
Ashtamata Swamijis have your, I mean, you have the blessings of theirs.
And even for his Vrindavana, I could able to give my design, and that was one of the.
Excellent, excellent,
And
excellent.
also when vandalization happened in Hampi some years ago, and I got the opportunity to help in reconstruction. So these are all the opportunities came in my way. So it is just God's grace. That's all.
It's excellent. It's excellent. Sheshgiri, I should definitely tell you that the wide spectrum of the visual experiences and the visual projects that you have done, be it drawing, painting, digital, sculpture, temple, your training sessions, your films, animation films, it's huge. In the sense, one basic concept, visual concept, can be represented in so many different ways, and taking inputs and inspirations from the authentic text and scriptures from. So you really have done an excellent, you have an excellent body of work.
Thank you so
That's
much,
why.
sir. Currently, I'm working on another 32 feet sculpture on Bhimasena, and
Mhm.
that will be installed in Kurukshetra. Already the site has been taken, and everything is done now. Right now, I am in a process of buying the stone.
So it was Hanuma, Madhva, Bhima. No,
Yeah,
Hanuma,
yeah.
Bhima, Madhva, this concept. So do you think it's like, so is it going to come Vadiraja next?
I don't know, but as of now, I will be working on project on Bhimasena, so that will
Excellent,
be installed.
excellent. So it's like
Already.
Hanuma, Bhima, Madhva, and then
Yeah.
excellent, excellent.
And also for another 2 3 temples in Karnataka, I have been giving my creative inputs and direction for the other sculptors, and with
Mhm.
my drawing, using my drawings, they are doing the sculptures in 2 3 places as of now.
Excellent. That's so brilliant. So we would love to see that once it's totally executed and it's open for the public. That's like,
Yeah.
and I understand that currently you're working with TCS
Yes.
again. Yeah. So how is TCS helping you, or in in evolving your creative thought process?
Especially right now, currently I am working there as a UX head or UX consultant for in banking and insurance sector. So my job is to help them with visual design, and not just visual design, from UX perspective as well. There are nowadays customers or people using their applications in different devices. The look and feel and the experience has to be same for them. Even the same website can be viewed in mobile, tablet, or in desktop. So wherever they are accessing those information, it should give them a minimalistic approach to do their task in a minimal time, and also the number of clicks, if it is reduced, it will be very helpful for the users. And also the crisp information with the crisp and proper information for the user will help a lot for him to do the particular actions. So to do that, and aesthetics is very important in any of the devices. So if you are just giving those information in a just like in a white paper, people will not be able to do that. Or yeah, there should be an interesting point also. So based on our art study, whatever we have done, so we are giving the enhance or the emphasis on that particular action based on the colors, theme, paletization, all that we are taking care. And with that new trends and technology, we are providing a good solution for the customers and for all our team members. It's a very good UX journey, and it is I'm thinking proud, because from art college to a technology company, it's a huge metamorphosis and a huge change.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Earlier, whatever the technology team used to ask, we used to provide those solutions as a design solution for them. Now the things are changed. Once Steve Jobs changed the entire industry's look, now whatever the art or the front end requires, based on the technology, should support the front end. So customer facing design is very important, because that's what sells now. So for that, whatever is aesthetic in front of you, for that, whatever technology is required, that support we need to get. So artist is in a good position. He is commanding the technology team and engineers. So earlier, people used to keep artist in a lower profile. Now
In the back end, like.
artist has a good bigger profile. So it's a very good opportunity for me to do that in such a great organization.
Excellent. You have really given a good hint for all the artists, saying that how they can add more value to their skills and to their knowledge, so that they can be at par or they can be associated with great IT and technology companies as well. So that is another interesting aspect which I was always curious, like how an artist like you or any painter or someone who can reach to the IT or to the corporate levels as well.
There are many other opportunities also for artists, but our Indian artists are not exploring that. Especially where I was talking to one of the artists who is sitting in Indonesia and Malaysia. She is earning almost more than in Indian rupees, more than 8 or 9 lakhs rupees per month, just putting some her illustrations in different websites where people are downloading it, for their print purpose or for animations or any other purposes. There are many websites where a lot of illustrations are being used. Even for many presentations and everything, people are using illustrations. So there are many stock photos or stock illustration websites where people can be able to sell their own artworks. So she has posted some artwork almost 6 or 7 years ago. Even now, people are downloading it. When they are downloading it, they are paying for it. So even her old works are also getting her the kind of amount whatever she has, the time she has invested. So if artist can put a proper design thinking and proper work, if he can be able to do it, and if he or she can put it on a web, So today they can earn like one. It's a one-time investment for us. If we put our investment is time. So if we could put proper time, and if we do proper research, and if we do any design, it can people artists can earn a lot of money. But
No.
our,
Excellent. I think we'll have one more session on this because I really want to educate and help these artists where they can explore these things and all. I think we should do that once, so
yeah,
that
definitely.
it will help a lot of artists, and maybe that we can do it in a vernacular, maybe in a Hindi language or something, whatever it is, because most of the people should understand this.
Correct.
But I've taken a lot of time from you, Sheshagiri. I still have lot of things to discuss, but I think I will
Yeah.
invite you once again for the discussion and
Thank you. Thank you so
this thing. But thank you very much. You have given so much varied inputs. You have given so many varied insights to your art, because usually when I speak to artists, it's only like one perspective of an artist as a painter or someone who draws. But you have so much various different dimensions, and each dimension can be one talk.
much.
So
Thank you so much.
so we'll definitely meet once again for this, for
Yeah.
the various talks and all. And thank you very much for being here.
Thank
uh,
you so much. Thanks for
yeah.
this wonderful opportunity. And because of your RTV, many of our artists are, we are getting close because of that. And, people are, we will not be able to know details about them. So because of these interactions, we will get to know about their works and how they started and what are the things going on in our art industry. It is a very good thing to know. So
Yes, indeed. i'm
thanks.
glad I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, many thanks for that. And the initiative what you are doing is wonderful. So in
Thank
India,
you.
not
Thank
many
you.
people are doing that. And this initiative will really help many of the artists, especially for budding artists. They will know where exactly they want to find
True.
themselves.
True. Friends, I believe that you have enjoyed this interview, this discussion with Sheshagiri. Do let us know what you think about this. Like, share, comment, and subscribe our TV. And thank you very much for being with us. Thank you, Sheshagiri. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.